I'm back with part 3 of the videos to do the cordage, and today I will show you how we're going to use the cordage to make a little woven pouch. I've already trimmed most of this. I've left some so I can show you what I do. Where we've woven in the cord, where we've put the joins, I go along and just trim off these bits, these tails. Just trim them off, tidy it all up a bit. Don't go too close. I mean, you can see I'm going relatively close, but if you take it right up, it will come unravelled too easily. I have dampened this cord again. It's much easier to work with when it's damp. And it doesn't become as brittle with the cardamom. Now we're going to get our cordage. I've got about 3 meters here. That might be a bit too much. And here's the loop we made last time at the start that we made. We're going to use the length, fold it in half, about 2/3 of the way along, and we're going to use that like a bit of a needle and come up through that loop, pull the cord through, and then we're going to go down through the top of the loop we just made. So we will end up with two loops like this. This one here is our original loop that we wove in. Then we will come along and do that again. We'll do that 5 times. So we want 5 foundation loops in that original loop. Up from the bottom and then down to the top of the loop we just made again. And manipulate it to form another loop, a similar size. Do that again. Up through the bottom of the original loop, which is our foundation loop, and then down through the top of the loop we just made. Again, up from the bottom of our foundation loop, pull the cord through, and then down through the top of the loop we just made. And again, and I've twisted that, so you don't want to do that. Don't do as I just did. Make sure that loop you just made isn't twisted like mine just was. And then down through the top of the loop we just made. So now we have 4 loops. We want 1 more. Up from the bottom of our foundation loop, down through the top of the loop we just made. Manipulate that again. So the working loops, I'll try and manipulate this. There is our foundation loop that we had made in the beginning. Loop 1, loop 2, loop 3, loop 4 and loop 5. The next step is to work into that first loop that we made, not into the foundation piece, but that first loop in the first row. We come up through the bottom and then down through the top of the loop we just made. This time we're going to go into that loop again, up through the bottom, and then down through the loop we just made. The second loop in the first row, we're only going to do one. So up through the bottom and then down through the top of the loop we just made. The third loop in that second row, we're going to put 2. And we're going to keep working in this fashion. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. So you can see our foundation loop. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in row 1, and then 2, 3. 2 loops in the first one, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and we'll just keep going around in a spiral, doing 2, 1, 2, 1, until you've got your base as big as you'd like. I did mine about the size of the bottom of a soft drink can, maybe a little bit bigger. And then you have to remember, when you start to work upwards, the first row you work won't turn up. It doesn't usually turn up, it's just your foundation starter. So keep working 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1 until you get the size you want. And then when you get to the size you want, you only go in once in every loop. And then when you start doing once in every loop, that's when the sides of your basket will start to work up. And here is the basket I did earlier. So you can see our foundation. There's our foundation loop in there with the loops worked around. And then the next row. And then when I started to do only one loop in each loop, the sides start to form up and we get this basket. And what I'm going to show you today, when you get it as long as you want, you have to, there's no way I've worked out yet to do it any neater. You have to tie it off. Tie off your final loop. And what I've done here is make another piece of cordage, about, don't know, 50 centimetres long. I've put a bead on one end. It's just a handmade pottery bead with some glaze. And we're going to weave through every loop in the top row. Weaving through, getting caught. Where on earth did I get that stuck? I'm just working, as you can see, in and out, in and out. In and out. Until we get back to that first loop, and I will put another bead on, tie an overhand knot, and there we have a basket with beads that we can use as a little dilly bag. And that is how you make a little cordage basket. Thank you for joining me.